least 12 people have been killed and dozens of others injured in Russian strikes across Ukraine, according to Ukrainian authorities, as Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky commemorated at least 707 children killed by Russia during the two countries' more than 4-year-long war. At least 5 people were killed and 11 others injured in Russian bomb and drone attacks on eastern Ukraine's Donetsk region, the National Police of Ukraine's press service said on Thursday. Liverpool has named Andoni Iraola as their new manager after sacking Arne Slot following a calamitous Premier League title defence. Iraola quickly emerged as Liverpool's top target to replace Slot, whose 2-year reign came to a shock end when he was dismissed last Saturday.
Maja Trwalinska of Poland became just the second qualifier to reach a Grand Slam singles final in the Open era when she beat Diana Schneider of Russia 7-6, 4-6-4. The 24-year-old Trwalinska has a chance to match Emma Raducanu's title run at the 2021 US Open when she plays Russian teenager Mira Andreeva in Saturday's final at Roland Garros.
When Congresswoman Delia Ramirez first announced the Block the Bombs Act to impose a partial embargo from the United States to Israel, only 21 Democratic legislators joined her in supporting the measure. That was June 2025. 1 year later, the legislative proposal now has 73 co-sponsors, a tally that Palestinian rights supporters say represents historic progress. Poke, a startup that turns using AI agents into something as simple as sending a text message, has become the first AI agent approved to run on Apple's Messages for Business platform. Previously, the platform was designed for businesses, airlines, retailers, hotel chains and others, to communicate with their own customers through iMessage, offering a standardized interface that supports both automated chat and live agents. Until now, it hadn't been open to standalone third-party AI agents. Launched in March, Poke is one of the first AI agents designed to be accessible to everyday users who don't have the technical skill set or inclination to work with command-line tools or more complex agentic systems like OpenClaw. Today, Poke can help with common activities like daily planning, managing your calendar, tracking your health and fitness, controlling your smart home and editing your photos, all via text message. To date, it's relayed some 100 million messages, the company tells TechCrunch.
Or just when you thought the AI data center boom couldn't get any crazier, Meta has gone and built data centers in tents. The strategy appears to borrow in equal parts from Tesla and xAI. In a bid to cut construction time in half, Meta has built 6 tents, or rapid deployment structures, as the company describes them, outside of New Albany, Ohio, according to Michael Thomas, founder of CleanView, which tracks data center deployments. British human rights lawyer says the former wife of a nephew of the ruler of Dubai has gone missing. Contact with Zainab Javadli was lost on Tuesday, and the BBC has been told her home in Dubai is locked and empty.
An auction with an array of memorabilia from Marilyn Monroe's estate and friends has already brought in thousands of dollars in bids on the 100th anniversary of her birth. The sale, which began on Thursday, features 185 items from the model and actress's life, including a 1950s evening purse worth an estimated $100,000, $74,000, an evening gown and even her lip pomade. French-Iranian author, illustrator, director and activist Marjanji Satrapi, best known for her graphic novel series and film Persepolis, has died aged 56. The Élysée, the Paris, has confirmed she captivated a global audience with Persepolis. The palace said, calling her a leading figure in French culture and an artist devoted to freedom whose work carried a universal message and earned her immense international renown. Saudi Arabia's Minister of Energy, Prince Abdulaziz bin Salman Al Saud, has met his Russian counterpart in St. Petersburg and called for stability in global energy markets as OPEC grapples with disruption caused by the wars in Iran and Ukraine, which have sent oil prices skyrocketing. OPEC has been unprecedented challenges with slashed oil exports, and in Jumaid, the United Arab Emirates, an OPEC powerhouse for almost 60 years, left the oil cartel in April.
Hundreds of Libyans have gathered outside the UN Refugee Agency, UNHCR, headquarters in Tripoli to protest against undocumented migrants that they say should leave Libya. Protesters on Thursday chanted, "Libya belongs to Libyans," and called for the closure of the UNHCR headquarters in the capital. They were seen holding signs reading, "Our love for our country is not racism, and Libya's is not the world's garbage bin."
Helion, the fusion startup backed by Sam Altman, announced on Thursday that it had raised $465 million in a new funding round that values the company at $15.5 billion. The cash infusion lands as Helion is racing to complete Orion, its first power plant. The startup has set an aggressive timeline to deploy fusion power to the grid, as early as 2028 if it can deliver on the terms of its deal with Microsoft.
The federal government has decided to increase the general sales tax, GST, on everyday school and office supplies from 10% to 18% under the upcoming Finance Bill 2026. Official sources informed Pro-Pakistani a short while ago. The proposal has already been finalised and has received clearance from the International Monetary Fund, IMF. Once implemented, the revised tax rate will take effect from July 1, 2026.
Washington. 3 senior Democratic leaders urged their colleagues in the US Senate on Thursday to support the move to prevent President Donald Trump from continuing the war against Iran without congressional approval. Democratic Whip Catherine Clark, Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, and Caucus Chair Pete Aguilar said in a joint statement that the House of Representatives on Wednesday successfully passed a war powers resolution and that it is now time for Senate Republicans to do the right thing.
Once a gathering place for Western leaders and investors, Russia's St. Petersburg International Economic Forum, CEPIEF, features a guest list that includes an eclectic mix of American attendees, ranging from conservative podcaster Candace Owens, U.S. Commission of Fine Arts Chairman Rodney Mims Cook Jr., and American actor Steven Seagal. The Ukrainians are not in attendance. They made their presence felt as the Kremlin's flagship business and economic forum got underway under the cloud of drone strikes on Russia's second-largest city, President Vladimir Putin's hometown of St. Petersburg, just hours before the event started on Wednesday. John Bolton, a former national security advisor to President Donald Trump, is set to accept a plea deal in a case related to the handling of classified documents, according to media in the United States. Bolton, now a prominent Trump critic, reportedly intends to plead guilty to 1 count of illegal retention of sensitive national security documents and has agreed to pay a fine of more than 2 Nalminas.
Israel's Supreme Court has unanimously rejected a government policy banning representatives of the International Committee of the Red Cross, ICRC, from visiting Palestinian detainees in Israeli prisons. The court ruled on Wednesday that by preventing the Red Cross from visiting prisoners, the government had contravened Israeli and international law, and therefore the policy must be repealed.
A burglar used a Waymo while stealing yoga clothes in San Francisco this past January, and police have still not caught them. That may sound counterintuitive given the widespread concern that Waymo vehicles and other robotaxis are rolling surveillance machines. But this curious case, reported by the San Francisco Chronicle on Thursday, sheds some new light on how Waymo handles the footage captured by its cars. As Apple's Worldwide Developers Conference, WWDC 2026, approaches, the excitement is building around what Apple has in store for us this year. From series overhaul to new Apple intelligence updates, there's a lot to look forward to. The annual Worldwide Developers Conference kicks off Monday at 10 a.m. PT /1 p.m. ET. For those eager to tune in, the event will be streamed live via the Apple's website and the Apple Developer YouTube channel.
Meta announced on Thursday that it's introducing a new AI creator assistant on Facebook that will give creators personalized recommendations based on performance, community, and goals. Creators often have to pass through charts and dashboards, but with the new AI assistant, they can get quick answers to questions like, when should I post? And what are people saying in my site? They can cite their comments. And what are people saying in my comments? Meta's Oversight Board, the independent governing body that makes policy recommendations to the tech company, said Thursday that Meta's account deactivations lack due process. Violations are doled out without clarity, and there's little customer support for appeals. The board, which recently received increased funding to continue its work through 2028, launched the investigation into Meta's account violations policy earlier this year to review a case involving threats of violence against a journalist. The board agreed that Meta was right to permanently disable the account due to the severity of the threats. Security forces killed 4 terrorists in 2 separate intelligence-based operations. By Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, the military's media wing said on Thursday the Inter-Services Public Relations said that the 4 terrorists killed during the operations belonged to Fitna al-Khawarij, referring to the term used by the state to designate members of the banned Tehreek-i-Taliban Pakistan, TTP.
Dera Ismail Khan, inquiry reports have identified hundreds of suspicious degrees and questionable financial transactions in a major scandal involving alleged fake degrees, financial irregularities and embezzlement of public funds at Gomul University. It emerged on Thursday. According to official documents and inquiry reports seen by Dawn, the investigation was initiated on the directives of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa Minister for Higher Education, Archives and Libraries Mina Khan Afridi as part of efforts to eliminate corruption and ensure transparency in higher education institutions across the province.
US President Donald Trump has hit back at lawmakers who voted to send him a rebuke over the war in Iran, calling them unpatriotic. On Wednesday, the US House of Representatives passed a measure seeking to halt Trump from taking further military action amid growing opposition to the war.
Despite his title, the president of the National Association of Sugar Mill Owners of Cuba has never been to Cuba, nor does he operate any sugar mills there. I grew up here in Miami, Nicolas J. Gutierrez told CNN. My dad instilled this love of Cuba in me. When he died, he was amazed how much it had taken root.